This is the remix.
The Life of Dad Show.
Remix.
What's going on, everybody? Art Eddie here for the Life of Dad Show Remix. Here in Life of Dad Show Remix, we take past guests that we've had on the Life of Dad Show and just put the spotlight with their thoughts on fatherhood. Since the NHL is back, it's only fitting that we put the spotlight on three great dads who have made a name for themselves in the NHL for this week's Life of Dad Show Remix. We're going to be talking with Brind'Amour, Ryan Miller, and Cam Neely. All are great guys. All have made a name for themselves in the NHL, but they're even better dads. So we hope you enjoy this NHL edition of the Life of Dad Show Remix. Hey everybody, Art Eddie here for the Life of Dad Show, and on the line I'm very happy to have Carolina Hurricanes head coach Brind'Amour. Thanks for taking the time to chat with me, Rod. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. First of all, congrats on being named the coach for the Canes. Your son Skylar's playing for the Chilliwack Chiefs. What advice did you give him as he started to play in that league, sir?
He got drafted last year by the Oilers, and he's going to go play college hockey next year. The year after. He's going to play one more year out where you just said Chilliwack, which is it's called the British Columbia Hockey League. So it's a junior league. The advice I've given him his whole life, really, I mean, it's just, you got to work hard. Nothing is given to you. And he's been afforded a lot of opportunity based on, the simple fact that he's grown up in a hockey family in the NHL. And, he's come to all the Hurricanes games when he was a kid. He got to come in the locker room after the game and he sat in there and watched how the guys prepared and, after games, how the work they put in. And I think he's really lucky in that sense that he got to see, what it was all about. Obviously, his dad played in the NHL, so he understood the work that goes into it. But at the end of the day, the rest is on him. He's got to keep working hard, and I'm proud of him for that. He works hard every day, trying to get better, and we'll see how it all works out. But at least for his point of view, he knows that he's got to go get it, and that's been my message his whole life.
Appreciate you sharing that. And, when I talk to athletes who are now retired, whether they're coaching or they're involved in some part of the game, you can tell that the chance to win and the idea of the passion and the drive is still there. So your kids are going to still see that, obviously, with you being the head coach for the Carolina Hurricanes. But then also, too, on the flip side, they might have not seen everything you put into it as a player just because, at their age and all that. They can look back at your career highlights, obviously see you and your team celebrating back in 2006 when you won the Stanley Cup, but if there's one thing or one attribute about when you were playing that they could take away from your career and add it to their lives, what do you think that one attribute would you love for them that they've seen through maybe highlights or when you've talked to them about your time in the NHL as a player?
Well, one of the things that was unique winning the Stanley Cup at the age I won when I was 35, so I'd already played 16 years in the NHL and I never won, and was that my three oldest kids were at the time I think 6, 7, and 8 years old, so they were old enough to appreciate what was going on and to remember what went on and how hard it was to achieve that. And so that was actually a bonus of if you only had to win it one time in my 20-year career, near the end was great because I got to share it with them. And so they got to see that. I have a younger kid now that's only 6, so he has no clue of any of that stuff. So to your point with him, it's a little more different, I think, because he's seeing it, I guess growing up different. I'm a coach as far as he never saw me play. So,
sure.
But at the end of the day, I think it doesn't really matter what you do or your job or whatever. You want your kids just to work hard and be good people and good people first. And I think that's kind of that'll take you a long way. If you're honest with yourself and the people you around, then I think that'll take you a long way.
Excellent. And take me back to the time you found out you were going to be a dad. What was going on through your initial first few thoughts in your mind when you found out hey, I'm going to be entering this role of being a dad?
Oh man, that's taking me way back now. I think it's like anything. Once you have a kid, you wonder what you did with all your time beforehand. It kind of felt like your time was so wasted. Not wasted, but just not important. And then the minute you have a kid, you bring him into the world, and it's like, holy mackerel, man, this is real now. But it was great. My daughter was born in Philadelphia, and I actually remember that vividly, and was right during the All-Star break, so it was perfect timing. And then, I left the hospital and went and played a game against the Buffalo Sabres and scored 2 goals that night. So I just remember, it was a pretty fun time and pretty exciting.
Yeah, I love those moments where, like you said, where you score 2 goals after your daughter was born. It just kind of, puts a little icing on the cake, so to speak, of, welcoming a child into the world. Man, that's fantastic. 2 more questions before I hit you up with a Life of Dad quick 5. I know you mentioned a couple of things when you were answering my question about Skylar and what, advice you gave him, but what are some of the core values you're looking to instill into your kids? And I know some of them are, grown and are in college and all that stuff, but you never stop being a parent. But what are some of the values you look to instill into them as they're growing up?
Well, I think you talk to any parent, it's number one, it's not easy and you're never sure, right? You got to do your best, and for me, and it's whether it's parenting or in your job, you hopefully lead by example. You hopefully show them the way you talk, prepare, your habits, everything. You just hope that they see that, and that's what kind of gets ingrained in who they are. They have to figure it out on their own. You realize that pretty quickly as a parent. You can do everything, but at the end of the day, it's on them to kind of go ahead and be who they're going to be. But I think all you can do is do your best as a parent, and obviously show that you're there for your kids, and then you do a lot of praying. I think
yes, sir.
That comes into it too.
No doubt. And what is one big piece of advice you would offer to new dads?
Oh man, it's funny you say that. I've got a good friend here who's about to give birth to his first kid next week, and it's going to be the best time of your life. And number one, appreciate that. I think the best advice is I found as a parent, the first couple of years are the hardest. Like everyone thinks, when you get to be teenagers, and every stage of parenting is tough. But for me, that initial bring them home, bring the baby home from the hospital, it's like a freak show. You don't know what to do, and that's okay. That's the normal stuff. Like that's just normal. Everybody feels it. And you're not alone when you just don't know what to do, and that's okay. And I think that's probably the biggest advice, is just be prepared for that.
Yeah. Well said, Rod. Yeah, you can read every book known to man that about being a dad or when a baby comes, but once the baby's in your arms, things got real. So yeah, I totally agree with you on that. Now I got the Life of Dad quick 5. I know the ages of your kids are different, kind of wide ranging. But is there one favorite family movie you got right now in the household?
Oh, God, that's a really good question, because we've kind of gone through it all now, because I have a 20-year-old, almost a 19 and 18, almost 18, and I got a 6-year-old. So I'm back into the kiddie movies a lot. But, the movie that I don't know if you ever even heard of this. This is going to go way off the reservation here a little bit, but this movie called Wreck-It Ralph is a movie that I love, and it's just, I don't know why, but it's got, my kid loves it for different reasons, but I love it because there's a lot of adult kind of, humor in there. Yeah. I also like the Lego. I also like this Batman Lego movies that are out there. They're hilarious. So I know that's probably not what you wanted to hear. But
no, that's perfect. That's exactly what I want to hear. And I got to ask you, because of the Batman thing. I have 2 daughters, 10 and 8. But I got to ask you, when you're watching the Batman movie, or because my family and I will just trade movie quotes, because I definitely started that. My kids like that. But we always say that's probably worth a Google from when Joker is talking about Batman. So yeah, great movies right there. You also know that Wreck-It Ralph 2's coming out too, right?
I did not know that. So that's gonna be. We'll definitely have that one in the house.
Nice. Favorite family song, or you guys like to sing and dance with your family, or is there one band you love to introduce them to your kids?
Well, we play this game. I didn't know that you could do this, but on the the Alexa thing, when you bang it out, there's you can play music like genres, or there's a game, and so they're in the 80s, the 90s, and you got to name that tune or whatever. And so we play that at dinner all the time. I kill the 80s, like I am the 80s fan. But my son Reese, who's he's going to be 18, he kills us for the more recent stuff. But those are the kind of music games we play. I don't really have a favorite song or anything, but we like to do that.
Nice, man. I love that. I got to check that out. Describe the perfect family vacation. Where would it be?
Well, again, I've done the Disney thing a lot just because of the my kids, and now my little guy, we're kind of done it again. So I'm kind of almost done with that. Just basically the crowds and the lines. I loved SeaWorld. I'm a huge killer whale fan, and now that's going away too. So I think I'm done with the Florida thing. And now I'm kind of I like to just, I'm boring. I go to the beach. For me, it's 2 hours away, and just kind of hang out with the family. Anything you do is just, nowadays, just get your family together.
Yeah.
It's hard because my kids are all over the place, but if I ever could just get them together and just even have dinner now, it's becoming with the whole family is tough because everybody's everywhere. But I'm not all that exciting anymore. I tell you, one of the best vacation spots, though, if anyone's listening, is if you get a chance to go to Whistler, out in British Columbia. But it's phenomenal out there. So I've been there a couple times, and that's probably my favorite spot.
Nice. Getting vacation advice from Rod Brind'Amour. I love it. Last two. This one's kind of hard, especially since, it's hard to put in words, but I'm going to challenge you anyways. Which one word best describes winning the Stanley Cup?
Oh, man. You're right. That is hard because there is no words to describe it. And I think there was a commercial out that on TV there. It was a while back, but when they showed like people hoisting the cup, and then there was they interviewed them. What do you think? And it was amazing. Like all the guys couldn't speak. It's because you can't really sum it up. And it's one of those things I've said to many people. If you could ever experience anything in your life, like honestly, that I wish people could experience something like that, because what you've put in, and what all your people that you've done it with have put in, and it's just to finally reach that goal. It's hard to put into words, so I can't give you a word.
Gotcha, and I appreciate that. Thank you. I think that's the best answer. And lastly, one of the cool things about winning Stanley Cup is everyone gets a chance to have it at their home or wherever they want to take it. What did you do with the Stanley Cup when it was yours for that day?
Well, my story is probably boring compared to most, but I was real lucky. I'm at the rink right now, and I didn't realize this, but the captain gets to take it home that night, and so I left the rink here. It was probably 3 or 4 in the morning. I had to take my father, who was here, to the airport, so I stuck it in the front seat of my car, and he was in the back seat, and we drove to RDU from here. I dropped him off at like 5, and then I literally went back to my house. And I put the cup in at the time my boys were little, I stuck it in their room, and I sat in their chair, and I waited for them to wake up the next morning, and they kind of, woke up to that, and then we just had a little pool party at the house, and all the kids came over, and, from the team, and just kind of hung out there, and then that was pretty much it for me. So it wasn't overly exciting. I did get to take it home, actually, to my parents' place out in British Columbia, and they got to kind of have a day with it there. So that was, I guess, really technically my day. They got to use it, but it was just a special time no matter what.
Awesome, and I hope more special times for you and the Hurricanes, as obviously you're starting as the head coach this season. Continued success with everything you got going on. People, make sure you go to nhl.com/Hurricanes for more information on Rod and the team. But again, thanks for taking the time. Love your thoughts on fatherhood, and best of luck next season, sir.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me. I love this. This is a great topic.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. You take care. Hey everyone, Art Eddie here for the Life of Dad show and online. I'm very happy to have Ryan Miller, who's the goaltender for the Anaheim Ducks. Thanks for taking the time to chat with me, Ryan. How you doing?
I'm good, Art. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, man, big fan of yours. I grew up in Buffalo, and so I remember my mom, a big fan of yours as well, watching Sabres games. Now you're playing with the Ducks. But we're going to talk a little bit about hockey, but I want to focus here on fatherhood, because that's what we do here at Life of Dad. Talk about when you found out you were going to be a dad. What was kind of going through your mind, sir?
Well, it was something we were kind of planning, so taking into account the, how heavy of a choice it is, but then it all kind of hits you when you realize it's going to happen. It definitely is not something you can really prepare for, and doesn't really sink in. Even now, I'm watching a 3-year-old climb on a jungle gym at the park right now. Still kind of blows my mind.
Yeah, man, it's crazy too, because you always think about, there's certain parts of your life where, of course, you got into the NHL, certain things, the milestones in your life, getting married and all that good stuff. But sometimes there's those moments where you kind of forget that, like, you're responsible for this life, and you got to make sure that you're guiding them in the best way possible. So talk about some of the core values you look to instill into your son as he grows up.
Well, for sure, I just want to make sure he's a nice, well-adjusted person. But I think beyond that, I'm just hoping that he's got his zest for life, and he seems like he does. His mom has got a great personality, and I think he's already got signs of that, and that's what I've always kind of hoped for, is he just enjoys himself.
Nice, man. And talk about, I know that he's kind of young, but have you experienced like this one You know, I know you kind of talked about it. Sometimes you forget, like you think about like being a dad, like, oh yeah, I'm a dad and all that stuff. But have you experienced like a crazy moment in fatherhood right now you'd like to share with us? Could be good, could be bad, crazy, could be whatever. But do you have like one moment that pops in your mind when you think about that question?
I mean, it's just been the challenges of, it's mainly my wife's challenges early on. But, we just had a lot of travel and time apart. So you definitely feel for people who spend a lot of time away from their family. You start to understand what that feels like. When I was in Vancouver, there were stretches where we have to go like a month apart. And it's definitely, not the easiest thing.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the most extreme thing. Everything else has just kind of been fun. He's not a tough kid. He's a typical toddler and learning his way in the world. Everything's frustrating at the moment because he feels like he should be able to do more. But, that's kind of where we're at with things.
Yeah, man, no doubt. Yeah, I remember like one of my oldest daughter. She's 10 now, but when she was probably your son's age, there was a phrase, and we always joke with her now, saying it's like I can do it myself. The way she said it was like like this gumption, like this attitude, man. So I feel you on that. What is one big piece of advice you would offer to new dads? Obviously, like you said, you're kind of in the thick of it with your young son. So talk about like one big piece of advice you'd offer to them.
I mean, a lot of the hockey guys, it's mainly because of the lifestyle and we're traveling so much. It's a lot more than you expect it's going to be. We thought we were going to walk into it and, we'll just get some help, we'll have some family, and everything's going to shake out. And not that it's completely overwhelming, but it's going to be more than you expect. So just know that and try and have some patience for it because, you're going to get tired. You're going to have things you have no idea how to handle because every baby tends to be unique. They're not all just where you're going to read a baby book. Now you think you know how to handle every situation. It's like, well, that's a little human being.
Yeah.
They might not take to whatever that book says.
No doubt. Also, too, kind of going with that, you talked about with travel and all that. Do you and your like teammates ever talk about fatherhood? Do you guys kind of bounce things off each other at all, or no?
Oh yeah, I mean, there's always fun stories. I mean, it's a big part of your life. So
yeah,
when the kids do something that's kind of hilarious, or if they almost slice their finger off when they get a hold of the knife or something. Not my kid, but I'm going to say it's happened. Yeah. They're like, oh my God, guess what happened today? I mean, that's a big part of the locker room because it's a big part of your life. Once you have a kid, it's 99% of it. So.
Gotcha, man. Also, too, kind of going with, people know you for playing in the NHL, but I think, for you probably want to leave a legacy for your son that's more than just hockey. So do you kind of think about certain things that you want to, like, have him take, with him I'm not trying to fast forward too because you want them to stay young and enjoy life, but, like, is there certain things you've kind of thought about, like words of wisdom? You don't have to, like, share them with me, but have you kind of thought about when he gets older and stuff like that? Like, what are you going to say to him and all that, and kind of share what you've learned in life and give it to him?
I mean, the only thing I worried about was, like, he was going to miss a big part of my life because, hockey's going to wind down for me. And, when I was a kid, I don't really remember a whole lot from when I was his age or, even, like, into, like, 4 or 5 years old.
Yeah.
I have these little memories. If you showed me a picture, I could probably spark something small. But the only thing that I'm kind of disappointed is, he's not going to see dad who putting the work in. That's what I worry about.
Yeah.
The kids have to kind of see you do things and lead by example is kind of the biggest tool, I think. So
yeah,
he's going to miss a lot of the times, or he's not going to remember a lot of times where, well, dad had to be at the gym or at the rink and he's working hard. He's doing the things that make you sweat and aren't all that fun, so that he can have some fun on the ice. So I worry about that, but I also think it's something I can try to instill in him, and maybe a little bit will be subconscious. By the time he's older, he'll just be exposed to so many, hardworking people because, all the guys who I play with are extremely hardworking and committed people and athletes. So it'll rub off a little bit, but
yeah.
I'm just hoping that it kind of something sticks.
Nice, man. Now we got the Life of Dad Quick 5. Favorite family movie right now in the Miller household is what?
We're on a rotation, but I think Secret Life of Pets is still in the lead. But there's some other front runners.
Nice. Favorite song right now in the household? Like, what does your son like to dance to? Because, I mean, obviously, probably you and your wife have your own favorite music, but, like, for him, is there, like, a song that is on repeat?
Oh, every time we get in the car, it's Imagine Dragons.
Oh, okay.
So
Nice.
he knows all the words. He's got everything down. Yeah, he's got a lot of favorites, a lot of requests.
Nice.
But that's number one.
Cool. Describe the perfect family vacation. Where to be?
Well, we tried a few, but I think just getting close to some water by the beach or something, some help from the family here or somebody, so you can shut your eyes for a nap.
Yeah.
That'd be a nice one.
Nice, man. Again, like every goalie is different. I get that, but I love the fact that you guys have different designs and things on your masks and all that. Do you have like a collection of them in your house or something like that, or do you have like a favorite goalie mask design from your time playing in the NHL?
I try and stick to one design once I get on a team. My Buffalo one was pretty much the same since I was in the minors. I just like to kind of tweak it.
Okay.
And I have them all at home actually. They're, one from each year out on display. I got a couple just sitting in the garage, or not the garage, the attic or something like that. So the Olympic ones were fun. They were unique, and keep hanging on to them.
Nice. And lastly, is there any like music that you listen to? Like talk about like your pregame ritual. Is there a song you listen to, or is there like a genre of music you listen to, or no?
I mean, there was a time when I tried to slip into like Guns N' Roses, AC/DC all the time, but I mean, songs can run their course, and
Yeah.
So you just kind of do your thing, and sometimes I'll listen to no music, sometimes I'll listen to whatever's on, or sometimes I'll be inspired to listen to something I've had in the past. But I'm kind of at that point in my career where I just kind of go with the flow.
Gotcha, man. People, make sure you follow Ryan on Twitter at RyanMiller3039, and also please go to the steadfastfoundation.com to see how you can help him out. Continued success with everything you got going on in the future. And again, thanks for taking the time to chat with me on your day off, sir.
Yeah, no problem. Happy to help.
Hey everybody, it's Art Eddie for the Life of Dad show, and on the line I'm happy to have Boston Bruins great and member of the Hockey Hall of Fame, Cam Neely. Thanks for taking the time today, Cam. How you doing?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. And here at Life of Dad, we love talking about fatherhood. You have 2 kids. What are some of the core values that you want to instill in your children? I know they're kind of in their teenage years, I believe, but what are some of the values you want them to take with them?
Well, the big thing for my wife, Paulina, and myself is manners. We want them, please and thank you is very important. The guest comes to the house, you stand up and you introduce yourself if they haven't met them before. I mean, it's really about manners and respect elders, and treat your sibling and your parents the way you want to be treated. That's very important for us. I think it goes a long way, and it'll stay with them the rest of their lives.
Excellent. Yeah, I think those are great values. And as a father who played in probably, I think, one of the toughest sports, hands down, what are your thoughts on leagues, maybe like NHL, NFL, and some other sports, trying to make the sport safer from the pro level all the way down to like grade school levels?
Well, I think the NHL is doing a great job of making our sport safer for everybody, not just at the NHL level, but like you said, all the way through youth hockey. It's about education, awareness, doing a really good job of trying to take away or minimize certain types of body checks or hits to the head or whatever you want to call it, where there's going to be stiff suspensions or penalties. But at the end of the day, it's really about the players. They have to really kind of make sure that they're doing the right things on the ice. We can educate them as much as possible, and the league certainly, I think, in the forefront of doing that, and has been for a while. But the players have to be smart on the ice as well.
Nice. And do any of your kids' friends try and get you on the ice to play against them?
Yeah, I think they look at me and say, "There's no way this guy can skate." So I would get out once in a while with him. It's a lot of fun, but my knees start barking a little too much.
Gotcha. And growing up in your generation now, for your kids' generation, what are some of the major changes that you see? Or there are certain things that you're just like, wow, I didn't have to deal with this when I was a kid. But what are some challenges that you see that your kids are going to face?
Well, technology obviously has changed dramatically, and everybody's always connected, which I don't necessarily see as a good thing all the time.
True, yeah.
So, although my son said to me one time, he said, "Dad, it's 2013."
Oh, man.
So, and my son is not as connected as most, and I was, kind of giving it to him a little bit about being on the phone in the car, like, whether it was texting or doing something else, and he just turned and gave me that deadpan kind of, it's 2013. The other thing is really education. It's our kids are in great schools, and I just see the amount of work and what they're learning. I certainly didn't have those opportunities. I think the education here that you can provide your kids is something that you obviously take advantage of, but it's not easy.
Yeah, it's funny when I ask people this question, they kind of go on maybe the negative side of technology, and I get that. But this is I like the positive side of education, where there's something where it's expanded, your kids' generation with a world of just more knowledge and technology that could be used for good. So I appreciate that.
Well, it's true. I mean, my son, can take his iPad into school and take notes off the iPad instead of writing it down, and it's much easier for him because these kids grow up typing now, not writing.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, definitely. And I appreciate you answering the fatherhood questions. And lastly, outside of hockey fans, I gotta know, did you get recognized more for your great hockey career or your amazing role as Seabass in Dumb and Dumber?
It's really a combination. Obviously, hockey more, but I do hear a lot of kick his ass Seabass while I'm walking the streets every now and again.
Nice. Very cool. Cam, thank you so much for taking the time. I know you have a very, very busy and hectic schedule. Again, we'll put links up to the Cam Neely Foundation, and continued success with everything you're doing with the Bruins and, of course, your great foundation.
Great. I really appreciate your support. Thank you.
All right. You take care. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thanks so much for listening to the Life of Dad show. You know where to find us, lifeofdad.com, and on Twitter and Facebook.